Hey guys, I hope everybody is well. Today I'm making a video for a friend for her research college project. She sent me the questions. It's about adoption. Since I'm an adoptee, she thought I could be a good candidate for the research project. And of course I said yes. So here are some of the questions that I gotta answer. And let's start. How old were you when you first found out you were adopted? When I found out I was adopted, I was 20 years old. I was told by a family member. I kind of had a feeling a little bit that I was adopted, but I wasn't sure. I'm a late discovery adoptee, LDA, late discovery adoptee, because I was told at 20 years old about my adoption. What were some of the mental struggles you had when being faced with the reality of your adoption? It was hard. One, I was pregnant. I was 8 months pregnant. So I really didn't want to do too much crying, too much depression, because I was pregnant and everything I feel the baby felt. So, I didn't want to do too much at that time. So I did push it aside until after I was pregnant. But there was a lot of struggle. I just felt at that time that I couldn't really deal with it much since I was a young mom. I was 19 years old. That day I turned 20 when I was told I was adopted. It was on my birthday. And also I was pregnant. So I'm having a baby, a newborn, my first child. And I was told about my adoption. It was a lot going on. I didn't know how to process anything at the moment. So I've been processing it slowly, but just trying to take care of my mental health. I think during that time I didn't notice it then, but yeah, I was going through a lot of struggles, a lot of things. But again, I was having a baby. I had a baby, so all of my energy was going to that. It was difficult, and I'm still processing the adoption. So it's, I think trauma. I think trauma is a lifelong process. So about my adoption is a lifelong process. So I'm still coping with it. I'm still struggling with it, but I'm getting there. And and I'm grateful for my adopted family. I'm also grateful for my biological family. I met my biological mom and my biological siblings. Haven't met my father yet, but I'm just grateful that my family has gotten bigger. There's hard things, a lot of hard things, but I try to deal with them as best as I can. How, this question, did you ever feel out of place within your adoptive home? Not so much that I felt out of place. I definitely felt a part of the family. I still feel part of the family. I have a big family, cousins, aunts, a lot of family, and I love them all, and they love me all, and they took me in with open arms since, they knew they were going to adopt me before I was even born. So, I didn't really have a feeling out of place. It's just with genetics. I didn't have a lot of people that I looked like. And that made me feel a little bit out of place, because I was always wondering, who do I look like? Who do I look like? And I would put things in my head like, oh, this person has a mole. I have a mole, so I look like them. So that's the only thing that I can say I felt out of place. It was just the way I looked and the way they look that made me feel out of place. But other than that, love, just being one of the cousins, being one of the sisters, didn't feel out of place. I felt like one of everybody else. That's why I'm saying I didn't know I was adopted till I was 20 years old, so I didn't really have those struggles. But I at the same time kind of did, because I kind of had a feeling, just because I didn't look like a lot of anybody else. And also my birth story was, I didn't get my mom didn't speak about my birth story as much like she did about my siblings. So that, just that I would pick on some things, Okay, next question. If you ever feel any pressure to adapt to, let me see, did you ever feel any pressure to adapt to a certain culture or identify outside of your own? Well, no, thanks God. That's another thing that I'm grateful for. I was born in Dominican Republic. My biological parents are Dominican. My adopted parents are Dominican. So I was adopted into the same culture, same language. So I really didn't have to, change anything because it's all the same. So I'm grateful for that because I know a lot of adoptees struggle with that, being adopted into different cultures. So that's one thing I'm grateful for. Next question. Was there ever a time in your life where you felt uncomfortable with the reality of being adopted? Yeah, I think I still feel like that. I still, sometimes it doesn't matter. Just, me having kids, I'm just get sad sometimes. I'm like, why was I adopted? Even though I understand why I was adopted, and I think that was the best choice for my biological mom to put me into adoption. But I do feel sometimes uncomfortable, even when speaking to somebody, a lot of people that are not adopted don't know how to speak to people that are adopted. They will be like, oh, but you gotta be grateful, you gotta be this, you have to do that. When they ask you who are your real parents, like my real parents are my adopted parents. So just the questions that coming from the outside, that makes me feel uncomfortable. But I do also understand if you're not adopted, it's very hard for you to understand the struggles that come with adoption. Next question. Did you ever face any social conflicts growing up? Again, I didn't know I was adopted till I was 20 years old. And after that, I was already had my home with my partner, our baby. So I didn't really, I wasn't really feeling like uncomfortable, with growing up and thinking other things or anything like that. So, but getting older, I am 34 right now, so let me see, like maybe growing up, because I feel like I still haven't met my biological father, so I'm like, maybe I'm too old to even have a relationship with him, so that's a little uncomfortable. And the fact that I know my adopted my biological siblings older in life, so we didn't have that bond like I have with my adopted siblings, but we have it now. So that's, a little bit uncomfortable because I wish we did before, because we get along pretty well. So I wish they were in my life or I was in their life while growing up. Next question. Have you ever had trauma from your past relating to your adoption? If so, how has it affected you? I guess not really, because again, I was adopted at 20 years old. But then again, I do feel like my past, because after I found out, I put two and two together. I'm like, oh, that's why I was told certain things. That's why people behave a certain way around me, and that's like why the family secret, because it was a whole family secret, because none of my cousins, none of my aunts and uncle ever told me about my adoption. I think they thought that they had to stay quiet for my parents, and also for my mental health. They didn't do it out of malice. They did it out of, let's take care of her, and we hope that she doesn't go through anything bad, or she's not suffering mentally, because they didn't really know much about adoption. That's the way they knew, so they wanted to hold me and protect me in their way, in their viewing of everything. So that's, how it would affect me. Okay. Next question. Do you practice any tradition, religion, or belief? If so, do your adopted parents also practice? Well, again, my adopted parents and my biological parents all come from the same country, and I come from the same country, so it's much of the similar things, similar religion, similar music, everything is about the same. So there, I really didn't have to do anything different, or my adopted biological parents are any different from what it is. Next question. Are you hesitant to have a relationship with people? Do you think you have no... I'm hesitant to have a relationship with people. I am not. I learned because of my adopted family. They have taught me so well to learn to forgive and to learn to move on and to learn to love people no matter their mistakes. And I think that's what I do. I don't hesitate to have a relationship with people because I try to forgive and I try to understand. I have a great relationship with my biological mother. It's not so much of a mother and daughter relationship, but we are getting there. And I think if I knew growing up that I was adopted, I probably would be like having a boyfriend or anything like that, because I would have been like, oh, that could be my brother, that could be my cousin. But I don't have it now. I do when I travel to Dominican Republic. When I go out, I look at people and I'm like, oh, that could be my biological sibling or biological cousin, because again, I don't know my biological father, but I think he's in the same area that my mom has lived in Dominican Republic. So I do look at people and I'm like, oh, that could be my family and stuff like that. That's about it. Next question. Do you think you have a flight of fight mentality? No, not really. I am a mama bear. With my kids, I am a mama bear. But with anything, no. I have a small circle. Again, I like to meet people, but it's not like I'm gonna meet you and we're gonna be the closest friends. No, I take everything with cautious, even friends. Everything with cautious, but definitely not a fight or flight mentality. And the last question is, do you feel you missed out on any childhood experiences growing up in an adoptive home? The only childhood experiences I think I missed out of is knowing my biological siblings, my biological cousins. I think that I missed out on that, just having a relationship with my biological siblings and my biological cousins. But now I do. I try to spend time with my biological siblings and my biological cousins, and that's about it. I don't think I missed out on anything, because again, I was born in the Dominican Republic. My adopted parents are Dominican, my biological parents are Dominican, and that's about it. Only, with my family, only with my biological family, I think that I missed those experiences. But other than that, I didn't, and that was the last question. So thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for doing this research, for so people can understand a little bit more about adoption. Thank you guys. I hope you guys have a great day. Bye bye.